Secret Diary of a Toad. The toad kept a diary. It was splattered with drips and drops, as he lived in a very damp place. But that didn't matter. It was a secret diary and no one else read it. On Monday, an especially wet and rainy day, he didn't write much in his diary at all. Just how especially wet and rainy it was, and how greeny and warty he felt. So to cheer him up, he went and sat on his special rock in the middle of the garden pond and thought about his special secret. It had something to do with where he was kissed by a princess and turned into a prince, but I can't tell you about it. After all, it's a secret. Monday. Today is especially wet and rainy, and I'm feeling especially gloomy and warty. On days like this, there's only one way to cheer up, and that's to think about my secret dream. Everyone needs a dream. On Tuesday, the toad looked in the mirror. He was still the same green, warty-looking toad he had been on Monday. But maybe the princess would come today. The toad cheered up. The sun came out. The flowers opened their petals and the insects flew from flower to flower. Tuesday. Today I had the usual sushi for lunch. This works like any sushi bar. You just sit there until lunch comes past. Then you flick out your tongue and grab a mouthful. And then another flick and another. And soon you're full up. On Wednesday, the toad didn't have time to look in the mirror. He was babysitting. He only did it once a week when his mate went to the shops. But it always made him feel a bit wobbly. Wednesday. The thing about babysitting, you don't have to do much. You just sit on the bank watching lumps of jelly floating in the water. But soon all these lumps will spawn and hatch into kids. Hundreds of them. Now that makes a guy feel wobbly. On Thursday, the toad looked in the mirror. He was still the same green, warty-looking toad, and the princess hadn't turned up yet. Fortunately, Thursday was the day all toads got together at the knot to have a good croak. There's nothing like a good croak when things aren't going your way. But afterwards, the toad began to wonder about his dreams. Perhaps the real trouble is that there are lots of toads, and they are all green and warty like me. He wondered if he would just give up. And perhaps they're all looking for a princess, and there just aren't enough princesses to go around. On Friday, the toad decided to get some advice. The fortune teller lived deep in the forest. She was very wise and very old and a bit frightening looking, but the toad really wanted to know what the future held. The fortune teller told me I am going to meet a tall stranger. I am going to fall in love. After going to live happily ever after, my dream will come true. On Saturday, the toad woke up with a plan. He leapt out of bed and went for a swim. He did 10 lengths of the pond. Then he did 10 press-ups on the bank and ate a healthy breakfast. He brushed his teeth until they were white and washed behind his ears. Then he found a clean page in his diary with no drips and wrote in big letters, Saturday, this is my plan. I won't wait for a princess to find me. I will go and find a princess. Finding a princess is never easy, The toad looked in all the usual places, in newspapers and gossip magazines. There were certainly princesses, lots of them, but it seems that all the best ones were gone. Wedding of Princess Jane to Prince John. Princess Millie engagement announced. Princess Isla marries. King weds Princess Sophia. Later that day, the toad set off. He had no idea where the princess hung out, but he was pretty sure he would find one if he hunted hard enough. And he was lucky. The sign said quite clearly, Princess needs toad. If you are green and warty and wants to be kissed, please ring this number. Kiss a toad. 1, 2, 3, 4. On Sunday, the toad and the princess met. It was not love at first sight, for the princess was rather warty too. But at least she was a princess. She told the toad she had kissed hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of toads, but none of them had turned into a prince. He absolutely was her last try. Sunday, so this is it. And this time she was lucky.